Spreadsheets. They can be your best friend or your absolute worst enemy. And the line between those two, it almost always comes down to one thing. Formulas. They're the secret sauce that makes everything powerful, but yeah, they can feel pretty intimidating. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify them once and for all.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, right? Staring at a screen just filled with these awful error messages. You thought you had everything set up perfectly. You copy one little formula down a column and suddenly, poof, your beautiful budget plan just completely blows up. It's so frustrating, but look, it's a problem we can absolutely solve. So how do we fix all that manual data entry, all that calculation chaos? Well, you put your spreadsheet on autopilot. And the way we do that is by really harnessing the power of formulas. This is where you stop just listing numbers and you start making those numbers work for you.
And here's the key thing to remember. A formula transforms your spreadsheet. It stops being just a static grid of numbers and becomes this living, breathing calculator. You change one number somewhere and everything that depends on it updates instantly. No more hunting and pecking to fix every little thing. It's just pure efficiency.
All right, you ready to build one? I promise it's way easier than it looks. We're going to start with a super simple, super practical formula. Let's just dive in and get our hands dirty.
So at its heart, a formula is just a simple instruction. That's all it is. It's just a little bit of math that tells a cell, hey, calculate a new value based on these other cells. Really, it's nothing more complicated than that.
Building one is actually pretty easy. First, and this is the golden rule, you can't forget it, you always start with an equal sign. That's how you tell the spreadsheet, hey, pay attention, we're about to do some math. Next, just click on the cell you want to use, like D4. Then you type your math symbol, like a slash for division. Click the next cell, say D13. And finally, the satisfying part, just press enter. And bam! Just like that, you've done it. You've officially told the spreadsheet to take the number in one cell and divide it by the number in another. You've created your first dynamic calculation. Pretty cool, right? Okay, but here's the classic trap. This is where everyone gets stuck at first. You've made this perfect, beautiful little formula, and naturally, you want to use it for the whole column. So you copy and paste, and, well, that's when good formulas can go very, very bad. So you take that brilliant formula you just made and you drag it down to apply it to everything else. And what happens next is the real key to understanding how spreadsheets actually think. And boom, a wall of errors. The exact same mess we saw at the very beginning. Your elegant little calculation is now just a disaster. So what gives? You did everything right. The culprit has a name, and it's called relative referencing. See, by default, the spreadsheet doesn't think divide cell D4 by cell D13. It thinks more like divide the cell next to me by the big total way down at the bottom. So when you copy that instruction down one row, it's still trying to look for a total way down at the bottom. But it moves down one cell into an empty space, and you can't divide by nothing. That's why it breaks. Okay, so understanding where your formula is looking, that's half the battle. That whole relative referencing thing is a big hurdle. But the other half of mastering this is understanding how it actually does the math, the specific order it chooses to do things in. And if you don't get this part right, you can get some really weird answers. Okay, check this out. On the left, 5 plus 3 times 2, the spreadsheet says that's 11. Why? Because it's programmed to do multiplication first. But look at the right. We just throw in some parentheses, and now we're telling it, hey, do the addition part first. So 5 plus 3 is 8, then times 2 is 16. Same numbers, totally different result. See? Parentheses are like the steering wheel for your math. So this is basically the rulebook. It's called the order of operations, and your spreadsheet follows it religiously. First up, anything in parentheses gets top priority, no questions asked. Then it'll look for exponents. After that, it's multiplication and division. They're kind of on the same level. And dead last, addition and subtraction. Just knowing this little hierarchy is going to save you so many headaches later on. All right, so now you know how to build formulas, you know how to control them. So what happens when things still go wrong? Because they will. Well, now it's time to put on our detective hats and learn how to hunt down and fix those bugs. And believe it or not, your spreadsheet software actually has built-in detective tools. One of the best is Trace Precedence. You click it, and it literally draws these blue arrows all over your sheet, showing you exactly which cells are feeding data into your formula. It's like getting an X-ray for your spreadsheet. You can see instantly, oh, whoops, I'm pulling from the wrong column. It makes everything so much clearer.
But for all these fancy high-tech tools, what's the single most powerful one you have? It's your own two eyes. Seriously, just looking at the result and using your own gut feeling, your common sense, that is probably the best debugging tool there is.
You just have to ask yourself one simple question. Does this number make sense? If you're calculating the average age of your employees and you get 257, you've probably got an error. If your monthly coffee budget comes out to $3 million, something's definitely wrong. This simple eyeball test will catch more mistakes than you can even imagine. So look at that. We went from a totally broken, error-filled mess all the way to understanding how formulas actually think, why they break, and most importantly, how to fix them. You really do have the power now to make your data talk to you, to make it answer your questions. So the only thing left to figure out is, what are you going to ask?